I have a guilty pleasure I need to admit to you guys. I enjoy digging in people's stuff. Now, it's not what you think. I don't go to my friend's house and start digging in their closet. Don't get me wrong. What I do enjoy is buying private collections of people's crystals and digging through their boxes. It's lots of fun. Do you want to look with me? So these are a couple boxes that we got from an estate, and it's actually a lot more work than you'd think. Most people are like, ooh, crystals, cool, you know, but we actually have to sift through this stuff and identify it. A lot of it comes with identification or actually misidentification, and we have to sort that all out. So let's pick through a few pieces. I'm going to show you, and you guys are going to tell me what you think they are, and then tomorrow I will tell you what they actually are. So first off, I grabbed this one. It's a rock, right? It actually comes with a little sticker that says Bird River, Manitoba. So it's actually local to me, which is kind of cool. And then there's this guy, which is kind of fun. I'll let you get a good look at it. Let's see. What do you think that is? Do you know? What else? What else catches my eye? I didn't pre-pick any of this, so I'm literally just identifying it on the spot. So this one actually is identified, and it is properly identified, but I will show you. And on the back it says it's from Chihuahua, Mexico, if that helps you at all. Kind of neat. Let's get for one more here. I don't know if you can see, I'm digging away. So what does this say? I don't even know. That's an interesting one. I'll maybe do some more research on what it says. This will be like a mystery bonus, and I'll not even 100% sure what it says myself. Okay, one more, and see if you guess it. Here, we'll do one easier one. What do you think that is? Come back tomorrow and I will tell you what they all are. But first, before we get to the answers, we are going to look at this box. And I don't mean what's in this box, because we already kind of dug through it a little bit yesterday, but I actually want to look at the actual physical box. So the joy sometimes that we get of vintage collections is sometimes the things that stuff come in is actually really interesting. I mean, normally it's just like sometimes diaper boxes and like just whatever, you know, appliance came in box. This one is actually a vintage ammo box. And so sometimes it goes to speak just how long some of these private vintage collections have been sitting, say, in somebody's basement. So I always love, we're kind of a picker family. We love going to garage sales and thrifting. And so it's always kind of fun to see some of the interesting like sidelines that come along with stuff. And yeah, so I just thought I would show you that box. And now let's go look at those crystals. So this first one that we grabbed had the identification on it, and it said Bird River, Manitoba. That might have been hard to read if you didn't live here, because this first word's kind of gone, but I know where it is, and yes, there's lots of mineral deposits there. So what we are looking at here is kind of a pinkish crystal that has, I don't actually know what crystal shape, but that one, this part's been cut off, so it would normally be a little bit more round and kind of like square-sided, like not squared, but like it's got these flat faces. That's actual crystal faces. It hasn't been like cut or anything that way. So these are your natural faces of the crystal point that would be growing longer this way. And this is the part that's kind of revealing. So the pinkish color is what's going to tell you right away-ish what it is. But you see, if I can catch it in the right light, you see that kind of flash? That's going to tell you immediately that this is a type of feldspar. Feldspar is literally one of the most prolific crystals, or rocks, mineral groups, I should say. All the words. One of the most prolific mineral groups on the Earth. It actually covers up 60% of the Earth's crust. Being this kind of like pink variety, sometimes you get into some that have like some like sparkles in it, and some people call it like a sunstone. Also in the feldspar family, where you get that flash that you see here, is moonstone. Moonstone is actually a type of feldspar. So the way that the layers of the crystal go is where you get those flashies. So that's how I like to identify feldspar. So number 2, we had this big boy, and so this one is all these cute little yellow crystals on here. I don't know how well I can focus on this piece up close, but I'll try and get a good shot here. So all these little crystals, the big identifier here, it might be hard for you to see on camera. So much of rock identification is an in-person thing. So it's really hard to do over the camera. But for this one, if you actually start essentially like picking at it, you're gonna get little pieces that are gonna come off. And what's this gonna tell you is that it is in fact mica. Mica is always these thin little layers of almost like a wax paper. They're just tiny little flecks that grow in like layers. Sometimes they have like a shape to them. Sometimes it's all just kind of random shaped, but either way, it's always layers and you can like split them and they'll pop apart. So that's what tells us this. It is a yellow mica. The yellow mica is also actually growing on top of some quartz. So inside is just massive quartz. It could be slightly smoky. We do get smoky quartz here in Manitoba. I would assume this is another local piece probably. Yeah, so some smokiness going on in there. You can see it here too. And yeah, so smoky quartz with mica on top. And you can see all the the little chunky bits. Did you know mica is actually, this flaky crystal is what usually makes up makeup. So they take all these little crystals and crunch them all up and put them on your face. Yay, sparkles. Okay, so the third piece here should be easy enough to guess, at least like the family group of what it is. The color should give you a little bit of a hint here of what maybe possibly kind of variety of what they identified it as. And the location probably wouldn't help you much at all because it's not typically known from coming from this type part of the world. So on the back we have carnelian from Chihuahua, Mexico. I had to look it up because I don't typically get carnelian from Mexico, but it's one of those more local deposits. So this very well could potentially be a self-collected piece for someone in his private collection. Maybe he liked to travel, and that's why some of these he has those locations on it. Yeah, so it is a piece of carnelian. I always love the pieces that have like these kind of cloudy white bits in it. I don't know why, I just think it looks cool. It's a very light piece of carnelian, but yeah, very pretty, very soft colors. I like it. All right, so next we have this piece, which is honestly kind of just a smorgasbord of different minerals all kind of stuffed together. So it's sometimes hard to give it like a one unifying name because it usually is grown in what's called a pegmatite, and a pegmatite is like a vein where all mineral rich material is and grows just in a total assortment of crystals. And so when you get something like this, it's not necessarily one crystal, but it's more like 4 to 5. And so the tag is falling off here, but this is what they called it. They called it zinwaldite with a question mark, lithium iron mica. And zinwaldite, when I looked it up, it was kind of wishy-washy with a bunch of different element names all mixed together that honestly is kind of hard to identify. So it's probably not a name I will be using to identify this rock. I will probably just break it down by its by its pieces. So first off here, we got some stuff that we're looking at on the back side. So this part here is quartz. So this kind of grayish part you're looking at, some probably into a smoky quartz because it is kind of grayish. So that part is easy. We got quartz. And then on the top, so if you remember on the paper here, what did it say? It said lithium iron mica. And so that identification is correct, because what we have here is this kind of purpley. I don't know if the camera's going to show the right color shade here, but this is all purple right here. And that is lithium bearing. Lithium bearing mica is actually also called lepidolite. So that is what that is up there. It's a lithium bearing mica, which is called lepidolite. So that is the purple part. The last thing on here that I kind of had to play around with is this white material. And I believe, remember that shine we were looking at earlier? That tells me that this is probably albite, which is a form of, once again, you guessed it, feldspar. And so that would be what this is. It's a lithium-bearing quartz feldspar. Is the basics of it. I do think there's one section on here that has something else going on that I am not familiar with identifying as far as a rock that's in Manitoba. I'm kind of giving it this shine here. So this part right here, if you're looking at it closely, you can see these almost kind of like little lines, look like little lightning streaks as they go across. that I'm not too sure what's going on there. That kind of color, the flash of color from those lines. So there could be something else going on there. When I get it under the right light, this section is definitely kind of bluish purple. So it is more lithium in this area too. So there could be some different mixture going on there. But the main part of it, yeah, is albite, quartz, and lepidolite. That brings us to our last crystal, which now you may or may not know the answer of. So this one was also correctly identified. Once again, he said lepidolite. And then it said lithium mica. So that's essentially what it is. It is lithium mica. All right, so let me know down in the comments. Did you get any of those? Did you have fun guessing? Do you want to do more of these? Let me know. Let's chat. If you like any of these crystals, you may or may not find them online, yieldrockshop.com.